Hello, and welcome to the SAP Fieldglass demo for updating columns on a connector. Today we're going to review the steps to modify and update the columns used in any of your SAP Fieldglass connectors. As the connectors are generally used for integrations, you may find that additional data needs to be collected or that a specific downstream system has new requirements to consume this data. Based upon this, it is common to modify the columns over time. With Configuration Manager access, you can easily modify these items without needing to rely on the SAP Fieldglass support team. There are several column changes which we will be covering in this video. Adding new columns, removing columns, renaming columns, modifying the column order. When you log into your Configuration Manager account, you'll navigate to the connector catalog in the top right-hand corner. You'll notice that the connector catalog brings you to view all of the connectors which SAP Fieldglass has available, even if they're not used or enabled for your company. As we will be focusing on updating a connector already in use, we will navigate to the Company Connector section, as this list is only comprised of connectors which are currently enabled for your company. From there, you'll use the filter options at the top of the page to locate and select the connector requiring an update. In this example, we will be modifying our standard worker download, as this is a commonly used connector. The connector-specific integration page will provide an overview of your current settings. To modify this connector, we will use the Edit button in the top right-hand corner. Once in the Setup Connector wizard, you can make any necessary changes. As we're focused on column modifications, we will bypass most of the options within this wizard. You can bypass sections by repeatedly clicking on the Next button, located at the bottom of the page, or simply by using the menu on the left-hand side. Using this left-hand menu bar, we're going to click on the Customize Fields button under the Customize section. You'll notice that the top portion of the screen is where we can make most of the modifications. Here, you'll have the option to add custom fields, add native fields, combine the custom fields, as well as the Save Column Order. You'll notice that the Save Column Order is not currently selectable. This is normal behavior until you make an actual modification to the order. On the left-hand side of each column name, you'll find this little icon, which is what you will use to move the columns up or down. You'll notice that once I click on this icon and start to move the column, it will be highlighted and I can move it accordingly. Once it's been moved, the Save Column Order button is now highlighted and can be selected. It is important to note that if you're making several changes, you will want to save the column order first before moving on to your next modification. For example, if you're also adding in a new field, be sure to save that column order first before moving on to that step, or else the column order will revert to the last saved order. Next, let's discuss renaming an existing column header. To rename a column header, you'll simply want to click on the column name that should be modified. Once you've clicked on that column name, you'll see that we get a pop-up box where we can modify the column label. Once you've made any necessary changes, you can click on the blue Update button. Keep in mind that each column label needs to be unique. If you want to remove a column from the connector, simply use the small X on the right-hand side of each column name. Once you click on that X, you'll get a pop-up to confirm that you would like to remove the column, and then you can proceed with any other changes. Now let's move on to adding fields. When adding fields, regardless of them being native or custom, you will have some limitations on the fields which can be added. If you're not seeing the field that you would like to add as an option, the field may be too far removed from the base module to be available by default. In these instances, you will need to create a support case to have the connector customized. Keep in mind that customizing a connector takes time. Please refer to our connector modification form for timeline estimates. And keep in mind that these estimates are subject to change based upon engineering availability and bandwidth. That being said, most fields should be available by default. Let's look at adding native fields first. When you click on the Add Native Fields button, there will be a pop-up box with all native fields available to be added. From here, you can either use the scroll bar or filter to find and select the applicable field. In this instance, let's add in the committed spend field. Once you've found the field that you would like to add, click on that radio button on the left-hand side, and then you'll want to scroll to the middle of the pop-up box to click on the Add Selected Fields button. Once you do so, you should see that new field has been added, and you'll click on the blue Add button to confirm this change. By default, any new fields that you add will be added to the very bottom of the connector. You can use the previously discussed steps to modify the order of your new fields. As you can see, making these updates with Configuration Manager access is quite simple. However, there are a few best practices and reminders which we wanted to highlight. First, we recommend testing any modification in a test environment before making these changes in production. Second, column headers cannot be repeated. If you plan on replacing a column with a different data point, but the column header will remain the same, be sure to remove the old column or rename it before adding in the new one. If you don't, you'll receive an error. For more information, click on the View In-App Help button on the top bar to access the available SAP Companion Help topics. You can select on the Connector Wizard button for general information and click on Learn More to navigate to the SAP Help portal for additional documentation. As a reminder, it is best practice to complete testing prior to making any changes with Configuration Manager.